Hello guys, welcome once again. In this video, I'm going to show you how to load your database table values in a data grid view or a table. So let me show you what I'm going to teach you today. So I have this data grid view control in my form, and when I press this load table button, it should load all the table values from eData which is present in my database. This is the table, and I want to show all the table values with the column names in this table. So whatever table values are present in this eData table in my MySQL database, I want to show in this data grid view in Visual Basic. So how can I do that, or how can we do this using Visual Studio? I'm going to show you. So let's get started. What you need to do first is you need to take a data grid view from here. So you will find this data grid view control from here and just drag and drop into your form. It will look like this. Okay, so I have already done that, and just take a button from your toolbox, and I have changed the name of this or text of this button as load table, and I have changed the name of this button as button load table. Okay, now what I need to do next is I will select this button, and I will double click this button, and in here I have written a code to load the table in the data grid view, right? So let me explain what I have done. These two lines you are already familiar with, I think, because with uh, in every video I use them. These two lines are used to connect my Visual Basic project to the MySQL database. So just declare MySQL con is equal to new MySQL connection, and then just copy this MySQL connection dot connection string and give your credentials of your MySQL server. And if you don't understand this, you need to watch the first few videos of my playlist of this uh, MySQL plus Visual Basic. So just write these two lines, and this is the new thing to connect the data grid view with your database table. So you need to declare three variables or instances of these classes. First, declare dim SDA as a new MySQL data adopter. Second, declare dim db dataset as new data table, and third variable, declare dim b source as new binding source. Okay, so this will help us to get the data from the database, this one, and these two variables will help us to bind our data which we get from the MySQL data adapter to the data grid view. Okay, and then give this try catch block. This also I have already shown you in the last couple of videos. So if you want, you can just copy this skeleton of the try catch block to catch any exception when the query occurs. Okay, now in the try block, I have just opened the connection with the MySQL database. So just copy this MySQL connection dot open. This will open the connection with the database, right? And in here I have declared a string variable called query. This query will contain the query which you want to perform in the database, right? So just write this, select star from your database name dot your table name. My database name is database and my table name is eData. So that's what here I have written, select star from database dot eData, and then just copy this command variable which I have declared above. I have already shown you in the last video that you need to declare these global variables. First is dim MySQL con as MySQL connection, and dim command as MySQL command, right? So just declare these in the global variable. I think you have already have them if you are following these videos. And then write that command variable is equal to new MySQL command, and just pass your query, which is this query, and just pass the MySQL connection, which is this one. So just pass two argument in this MySQL command function. One is this query and second is MySQL connection, right? Then take this SDA, which is MySQL data adapter variable dot select command. So just write sda dot select command is equal to command. So this will perform your query, right? And then in the second line, what we are doing is we are writing sda dot fill, and in the bracket we are passing this dataset variable. So this line will do is it will, first line is performed, which is this query, and just taking all the values, and then this line will fill all the values which are coming from this query to this data set, right? And then just write b source, which is your this binding source variable dot data source is equal to db dataset. So now we are filling our dataset to the binding source, so that this binding source can bind the dataset and your data grid view, right? So just write b source dot data source is equal to db dataset, and in the next line just write the name of your data grid view, which is the name of this data grid view, which is data grid view 1 dot data source is equal to b source, and then the last line is sda dot update, and in the bracket just pass this db data set here. So this is the code you need to write in order to fill your data grid view with the MySQL table values. If you want, just pause the video and just copy all this code, right? Now we are going to run this program, and username and password. And now when you just click this load table button, this loads all the columns from your eData table, which is this table, and it loads all the values in this data grid view. Now suppose you don't want all the values, you just want some of the columns. For example, you want the column, let's say EID, name, surname and age. These four columns you need only, and you don't want to show all this username and password and other columns in the data grid view. This is very simple. You just need to change the query. Just write, instead of select star, you just write select EID, which is the name of my first column, dot name, comma, surname, comma, age. So what are these four things? These four things, or these four values, are the column names of my first four column: EID, name, surname and age, right? So just write the name of the column separated by comma, which you want to show in the data grid view. Now once again, when I run the program and when I click this load table button, now it only shows only four columns, right? Now the next thing is to load the table. For example, what you want is, as soon as you log into the second form, or as soon as you load the second form, you want to load all the table without pressing this button. Okay, so what you can do is you can define a new sub. So I'm defining a new sub just above my end class code. I can define a new sub, or I can define a new sub above this button load table click event. Anywhere you can define a new sub. Just write private load table, and I forgot sub, so I write here sub, and just press enter here. So this will create a new sub for you, and in this sub or subroutine, just copy all the code from your this button click event, load table button click event, and just copy all the code from here from start to end and paste it in this load table sub, right? And next what we are going to do is just copy this load table sub from here, and just click your form anywhere, not any control but the form as a whole. Just double click it, and at the top just paste this function, load table function, and okay, I don't need this semicolon, so just paste this sub here. Okay, and when I run this program, and when I log in, and as soon as my second form opens, the values are loaded automatically and I don't need this load table button anymore. Okay, so this also you can do right now. The third thing is, suppose you add a new data to the database. So let's see. When we add a new data, right now we have 14 entries in our database, right? I want to enter employee ID 15, some name, some surname, and age, and I save it into the database. I save the data is saved, but you see here this table is not updated when I enter the 15th employee ID, and this will or this employee entry will come here when you click this load table button. So what this load table is doing is just refreshing your query, or refreshing your this load table code will send a new query which will give you all the values from the database. So this load table is also working as a refresh button for your code. So when you click this, now you can see the 15th entry in the data grid view. Okay, and in here in the database also you will be able to see, when you refresh the database, you can see the 15th entry. So this also is a handy function, this load table. Whenever you save the data and automatically you want to refresh your data grid view, what you need to do is just copy this load table function or sub once again, and go to this save button click event, and this code I have written in the last videos when I have shown you how to save your data using your Visual Basic Windows Form application in your MySQL database. So just go at the bottom of this code and paste this load table sub. What this load table sub will do is, after you save your data in the database, it will perform this load table sub, and what this load table sub will do is it will refresh the query, or it will send a new query to the database, and it will refresh your data grid view as soon as you save the data in the database. This function you can also paste in update button click event at the last, and in the delete button click event at the last of your subroutine. So now every time you perform any action, your data grid view is refreshed automatically. So for example, I want to delete this employee ID 15. What I will do here, simply I will write employee ID 15, I will delete it, and as soon as I delete I press this delete button, this will be refreshed automatically and you will be able to see only 14 employee ID. So let's see, I delete it and your data grid view is refreshed automatically, and you can see here you have only 14 employee ID. And once again, if you want to add one more employee, some name and some surname and age, and save it, and as soon as you save your data, it's there in the data grid view. So in this way you can load your data grid view using your Visual Basic Windows Form application from the table in the MySQL table. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment and subscribe, and bye for now.